Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottle cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
In this bulletin, President suggests law to ban smoking in homes. Catholic Church confirms funeral for next Friday. And Police Commissioner favours community policing. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. The late Archbishop Emeritus Petero Matava will be laid to rest next Friday in Suva. Mikalonga reports the Catholic Church will create history for the first time, interring an Archbishop beneath the Sacred Heart Cathedral.
The late Archbishop Emeritus Petero Matava will be accorded full traditional respects and burial in accordance with the doctrines of the Catholic Church.
We will bring his body on Thursday afternoon. Then we will have the vigil mass.
The late Archbishop will be buried here underneath the church, and this becomes the final resting place for all archbishops in the future. It's been a Catholic tradition for thousands of years that archbishops, when they die, they are buried under a cathedral. In Fiji, Archbishop Emeritus Petero Matava is the first to be buried under the Sacred Heart Cathedral.
For us, this historical point where we move from the old bishop's tomb, which is located in Bawal in Maflau, and moving it now to Suva. Basically for convenience, because it's out there in Bawal, it's isolated. It's hard for friends and relatives to visit the tombs.
Invited guests include the Prime Minister and senior members of government, archbishops from the Oceania region, and a representative of the Pope in Rome.
Out of this native Fijian, the Catholic Church in Fiji could stand by its own feet with its leadership and its guidance and its wisdom.
The Sacred Heart Cathedral is draped in purple, mourning the loss of one of the church's iconic figures.
He was a good father figure to all of us, especially to me. I had lost earthly father, so I had no one to tend to, and I turned to his grace, and he was a good father figure to me.
He was a servant leader who identified with all walks of life. His death has ended an era and a challenge to the new era.
I thank the God Almighty for his life. He was a good shepherd of the Archdiocese of Suva.
Those close to the late Archbishop Emeritus have described him as a humble, simple, and a man who was never serious in his whole 81 years of life.
For many years that he has been leading this church, and the change is very slow. Because of us priests, we are pulling back and doing different things, moving different angles. Remind me of St. Paul's last letter, just last Sunday, that I have fought the fight. I have fought a good fight. I've run the race. The only thing that he loves now is the crown of glory.
Archbishop Peter Loy has asked Catholics around the country to pray for the soul of late Archbishop Emeritus Petero Matava. Mikalonga, FBC News.
President Ratoepeli Nailatikau has called on the Health Ministry and stakeholders to work on implementing a law that bans smoking in homes. Ratoepeli was chief guest at a two-day non-communicable disease and law workshop in Suva this morning. Apisalamidoka reports.
Smoking is found to be one of the major contributing factors to non-communicable disease. Ratoepeli Nailatikau says to save our children's future from this killer disease, every home has to be legislated a no-smoke zone.
How can we blame a child who smokes later on in life when he or she has been brought up in a home environment that has dad or mom or uncle or aunt or other relatives smoking without any concern whatsoever for those around them? You've seen it happen, I've seen it happen, and it does happen. But we legislate for it in the clubs. Why not in the homes, where the children spend more time?
80% of deaths in Fiji are caused by non-communicable diseases, which are primarily the result of our lifestyles. While many public places are now no-smoking zones, this doesn't stretch to private homes.
Good to have we don't smoke at home because it is better for the children's health. When we are smoking, we are giving them the bad habit. The other thing, the health of the children is not good because the smoke.
It's good because our children are small and they can prevent plenty disease for them, and we should all stop smoking at home.
It is good to have a law no smoke because the small boys, small children, damage them. If people smoke at home, no good. Smoke the street, no good.
The environment we create for them today determines in the way their lifestyle and their health in the future.
The Ministry for Health says the two-day meet will help plan how to reduce NCDs in Fiji.
What we hope to achieve in this workshop today is to provide a multi-agency platform for national consultation on NCD prevention and control, and on how we can sort out some legislation that can facilitate an environment that will promote control and prevention of NCDs.
Fiji already has strict rules about the sale of cigarettes. No selling to people under 18, no single cigarette rolls are to be sold. All retailers are to be licensed before they can sell cigarettes. Apisola Medoka, FBC News.
People's Democratic Party leader Felix Anthony says the recent amendment to the political parties decree does not affect the PDP. The changes plug loopholes which exempted certain party executives from declaring their finances, and as Christopher Chand reports, the amendment exempts no one.
PDP leader Felix Anthony called a media conference today, saying the amendment excludes the PDP because they were appointed in May this year.
The amendment only applies to people who have taken office after 30th of June 2014. So again, this decree does not require us to make any declarations whatsoever until we are nominated by the party to stand for elections.
There are two subsections to it. The first one basically said that if anybody who becomes an official after 30th of June, which is when this decree amendment comes into effect, anybody that registers as an official after 30th of June needs to declare his or her assets and liabilities. And anyone who became an official before 30th of June also has to declare their assets and liabilities. So obviously it also covers officers from PDP.
Anthony also made a personal attack against Syed Qayyum.
If the Attorney General needs to take responsibility for the mess that he creates every time he issues a decree, clearly these decrees aren't well thought out. There's not much homework done before these decrees are being imposed on the people. And again, it demonstrates the caliber of people that are responsible for making such decrees.
Yeah, well, again, Felix, as we all know, those of you who know Felix, has a tendency to essentially engage in many statements without necessarily perhaps reading all the material. And I think this is an indication of how some of these political parties are now clutching at straws. Because the law is quite clear. There's no mess being created. In fact, the mess or the confusion rests with PDP. I also know that the PDP has two lawyers as the officials. I understand the President and the General Secretary are also lawyers. It would appear that the leader of PDP is not getting legal advice from them. Alternatively, maybe the legal advice being rendered to the leader is not accurate.
The amendment says people who have joined political parties before, on or after June 30th need to disclose their assets and liabilities within 30 days. This clearly means PDP leader Felix Anthony has 30 days to declare his assets and liabilities. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
The crime rate is low in Fiji compared to other parts of the world, according to Commissioner of Police Bernardus Huneveld. While the crime rate is low, he favours returning to community policing and says more resources are needed. Savara Tamboa has more.
After more than a month of leading the force, Major General Grunewald says he has a clearer view of what's going on internally.
I fully agree that is a challenge, but resources is an expensive issue, and we will have to submit a budget to our next year budget, we'll have to include that whenever we have an increase of personnel, you need to have an increase in terms of your logistical support.
The force needs to relook at the implementation of community policing.
I think that we need to develop specific implementation tasks to get nearer to the community, to share more with the community and to ask for their assistance in fighting the common, our enemy, and that is crime.
Police Commissioner also highlighted the need for special constables to be better trained and recognized as regular officer. Sawera Tambua, FBC News.
Still to come on FBC News, Lambasa businesses hope sugar mill operations will kickstart the town's economy.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
I love Mirchi FM, it's so hot. Deke me lal khaye me high. Tangi tawwa me Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singatoka love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva.
It's hot. Mirchi FM, bon julum.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Fiji National University academic Dr. Evi Nambalarua has shown interest to join politics and will be contesting the September 17th general elections under the National Federation Party banner. Dr. Evi has previously been an academic with the University of the South Pacific, Waikato University, and is now with the Fiji National University. She says she joined the party because of its policies.
Well, I think it has the potential. It has a history of stability. I was attracted to the vision, and also I think the fact that it portrays itself as inclusive and multicultural.
The FNU Human Resource Policy says employees who wish to have a high-profile association with political parties or to contest the elections need to take leave, be it annual leave or leave without pay. More than half the women living in the rural areas aren't taking sexual reproductive health seriously. This concern was brought up during a discussion forum by the Social Welfare Ministry in Suva today. The ministry has now decided to reach out to the women in rural areas to empower them in making informed decisions. Shireen Lata reports.
These 32 participants from the rural communities gathered in Suva today to discuss issues faced by the rural women regarding their sexual reproductive health.
It will help women leaders to go and disseminate the information that they learn to the women groups, and also it will clear out their doubts and uncertainties with regards to sexual reproductive health services.
Facilitators informed the participants some of the contributing factors to sexual reproductive health issues such as unplanned pregnancies, the sexually transmitted diseases, and HIV/AIDS.
We normally don't talk about this topic into our homes. It's a taboo. So I think it will encourage us to go and tell or to relay the message to our women in the villages.
Like, to me, it is very challenging when I go and preach to them. Actually, I face different circumstances from other women, because in their sense they don't see it as something we should talk about.
Semisi Singha says women in rural communities lack knowledge of sexual reproductive health, and this is a challenge to them.
Notice that the health facility is only centralized in town settings, but for people living in the rural community, they don't reach out to access to such services like this.
The 3-day workshop will end on Friday. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Labour Minister Chone Usumate has launched a new logo for the Foreign Employment Service. FORS works in partnership with the National Employment Centre to help Fijians find jobs overseas. Usumate says FORS will empower Fijians and reduce unemployment significantly.
The Fijian government, through the Ministry of Labour, has designed the policy and legal framework of the National Employment Centre decree to be aimed at providing a national one-stop employment centre to upskill the unemployed and facilitate their employment with local and overseas employers as trainees, as attaches, as workers or as volunteers.
The program has already succeeded, with 4 people already securing jobs in Canada's agricultural sector. The Fiji Taxi Union is confused as to how 7 private cars are operating as taxis from a local university. As Mikalonga reports, the cars are allegedly fitted with taxi meters.
This is serious.
If so is the case, then it will completely kill the taxi industry.
Fiji Taxi Union General Secretary Rishiram alleges that 7 private cars are operating from the National University.
It's said to say that we have received a report that 7 FNU shuttle vehicles have been issued with private vehicles have been issued with taxi meters.
All these stories about all these kind of illegal things happening in the industry, it's not new to us. You know, from forged license to people that are doing copies of permits, and even in this case where some has gone as far as putting some meters on private cars. We're aware of this kind of dealings going on, and what we're doing right now, as we always do, is when such news do come to us, first of all, we try to track this down to the resource.
Law is there for everybody.
The Fiji Taxi Association argues that taxi meters are only meant for legally registered taxis.
Under law, there is no provisions for any other mode of vehicles to be issued with taxi meters.
The Land Transport Authority says it's well aware of the activity and says members of the taxi industry have knowledge of this. What we've seen in the past and what we believe is still happening right now is there will always be a link to somebody that is operating a taxi business or somebody operating a group of cars, illegal rental cars.
So far, we have not received any report about that. But as far as we are concerned, we deal with legal taxis, we abide by the laws, and everybody should follow the law.
The Fiji Taxi Association has written to the Minister for Transport, the Land Transport Authority and the police with the hope that action is taken against the perpetrators. In response to our questions on the matter, the Fiji National University says, and I quote, "The FNU does not charge money for its fleet or passengers. It is for internal control of fleet." Unquote. Mikalonga, FBC News.
While business has been average in Lambasa so far this year, the cane crushing season moves into full swing. Things are expected to pick up. Ritika Pratap reports.
Business owners in Lambasa say 2014 has brought nothing special so far, no different from previous years.
It's fluctuating, like sometimes business is getting up, sometimes it is getting down. The school holidays, the business was a little bit alright.
It was good, but for the last 2 months I say it's not very well.
The start of the cane crushing season last week and beginning of the month of Ramadan has brought relief for many of these businesses.
You know, the crushing season has started, so they might get some, when they receive some pays, then it might go well.
We're expecting good from our valued customers, and since crushing season is starting, and we're having good deals for our customers since from the crazy sale and also the new arrivals for our Eid community.
The sugar is the 4 main sources of income for Lambasa people, because we depend on the local people. And since the harvesting is started, we all have to wait patient. Once the cane cutters' wages, one of the payment will come, it economy will always boost. At present, though, the business is a bit down.
The Lambasa Chamber of Commerce says crushing season brings the northern town to life.
Well, we rely on the cane farm. We rely on sugar industry. So I think it's a good start for us, and the first payment will be next week, and that's where all our business people are looking for it. And now on, our business will be going up day by day.
The Chamber estimates business for the first 6 months has been down by 30% compared to the same period last year. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Sports now, and here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. The top stories in sports tonight: Korean national cricket side to tour Fiji and overseas base players to compete in local chess championship. These stories and FIFA World Cup results after the break.
Goal FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is number one in Nelly.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about Batu Cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The Korean men's cricket team will be touring the country next week in preparation for the upcoming Asia Games. The tour comprises of a training camp as well as 10 2020 matches against the national men's side. Chale Ndawdakadaka has more.
Some good news for Cricket Fiji after receiving confirmation of the Korean men's 15-day tour to the country next week. The itinerary for the Koreans tour includes a training camp as well as 10 matches against the national men's team.
This mainly is a tour to help Korea prepare for the Asian Games, which is probably at the same time as our Indian tour. But it gives us an opportunity to play also an international side and get our players exposed at that level. Korea is still a budding nation in terms of cricket, and we hope to help them through this, and also at the same time get our players exposed playing international cricket.
The tour has come at an opportune time for the national squad, with places up for grabs for the tour to India in October.
We plan to use it as a trial for our national squad as well. We are looking to select our squad by the end of the month. We got matches lined up in Lautoka, and obviously we use this one as well as our second trials.
The Koreans will arrive into the country next Wednesday for what will be a great learning curve for both sides. Salendo Dakadak, FBC Sports.
Local chess players are gearing up for the Rapid Open Chess Championships this weekend. Overseas-based players like Tayone Sikivo from Malaysia, Jasvinder Singh from the USA and Sanmugam Gaunda from Australia are expected to lift the level of competition at the one-day event. This year, players have taken a keen interest in a new format introduced by the Fiji Chess Federation.
The great thing about this tournament is it's going to run in rapid format, which is 20 minutes plus 5 seconds. So it's something like a short form of sevens rugby. A normal chess game goes up to 4 to 5 hours, but this one will end in 40 minutes. So I think it's a lot of fun. And this format we introduced this year in 2014, and a lot of players have started to like playing rapid chess right now.
The Rapid Chess Championships start at 9 a.m. Saturday at Tapu City in Suva. Belgium will now face Argentina in the quarterfinal. Meanwhile, the first round of quarterfinal games start on Saturday morning local time. France will take on Germany at 4 a.m. and Brazil plays Colombia at 8 a.m. You can watch both matches live on FBC TV. That's it from Sports Tonight. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Amalgamated Telecom Holdings has made a huge turnaround in its financial performance for the year ended March 2014. ATH, the parent company of Telecom Fiji, Vodafone Fiji and other telecommunications arms, made a profit of $33.7 million. In 2013, the publicly listed company had a loss of $29.7 million. The loss in the previous year was the result of Vodafone Fiji replacing its entire telecommunications network infrastructure and disposing of old assets. Now it's that time again, weather with Trish.
Weather time it is, Jackie. Well, let's look at today's map where all 6 major centers, Suva, Nadi, Lautoka, and Savu and Lambasa all had fine weather marathon the whole day today. Now time for our temperatures for today. Suva on 29, Nadi and Lautoka on 30, and Lambasa hit 32. As for tonight, expect cool conditions, temperatures dropping to a cool 17. Bomba, Lautoka, Nadi, Singatoka, and Tavua, and maybe cooler if you're up at a higher altitude. Tomorrow's forecast, Suva and Savu should have scattered showers all day long. As for Nadi, Lautoka, and Lambasa, just might have fine weather all day. For mariners, southerly winds 10 to 15 knots and moderate seas. Looking at today's image, it's a perfect depiction of today's weather. A beautiful day at the Sea Breeze Park in Nasese. Picture sent in by Felix Dolatana Vanua.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. Recapping the top stories. President suggests law to ban smoking in homes. Late Archbishop Emeritus to lie in state beneath the Sacred Heart Cathedral in Suva. And Police Commissioner favours community policing. Now on to the poll question we're asking. Should there be more policing of nightclubs? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's all from the news team for tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow evening. Till then, bye for now.
Mirchi FM is number 1 in Singapore.
I love Mirchi FM, it's so hot.
Deke me lala, kai me hi. Tangi tau me.
Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singapore, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is number 1 in Suva.
It's hot. Mirchi FM, bon julum julum.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.